In the heart of an ancient Chinese valley, where mist hugs the green mountains and rivers sing softly through bamboo forests, lies a village full of life, Lanzhou Village. As the morning sun rises, the narrow stone streets come alive with the sound of chatter, laughter, and sizzling walks. The marketplace is the soul of the village. Colorful stalls line every corner, each bursting with aromas and smiles. Vendors display baskets of fresh fruits, hand-woven crafts, and silk fabrics that dance in the breeze. From one corner, the sweet smell of baozi, steamed buns filled with juicy meat, fills the air. Nearby, an old woman stirs a pot of spicy noodles, her secret recipe passed down for generations. Children run between stalls, munching on sugar-coated hawthorns, while travelers stop to taste dumplings, Peking duck, and warm green tea. The small restaurants, built with red lanterns and wooden carvings, serve not just food, but memories of the land's ancient traditions. As the sun sets, golden light reflects on the cobblestone paths. Musicians begin to play traditional instruments, and families gather to share laughter, stories, and another round of delicious dishes. In Lanzhou Village, every meal is more than food. It's a celebration of culture, community, and the timeless beauty of Chinese life.
In the quiet corners of Lanzhou Village, where the mountains touch the misty sky, lived a simple yet passionate girl, Sabrina. She had no family around her, yet her little wooden house was always filled with warmth, the aroma of spices, and the sound of bubbling soups. Every morning, as the village awoke, Sabrina would step outside with a smile, fetching water from the old well and picking fresh vegetables from her tiny garden. The villagers admired her dedication. She never complained, never rested too long, and her heart was full of dreams. Sabrina's specialty was cooking. Her dumplings were soft as clouds, her noodles danced in the broth, and her sweet rice cakes melted in every bite. People from nearby villages often visited just to taste her food and said, "Sabrina's dishes taste like happiness." But deep inside, she had a bigger dream, to cook for the king's palace one day. She often looked up at the mountain where the royal palace shimmered far away and whispered, "One day I'll serve my dishes there. One day they'll know my name." Every night she practiced new recipes under the soft glow of her lantern, trying to make her food more perfect, more magical. Though she lived alone, her heart was never lonely, because her dream kept her company. Didn't know yet, but destiny had already begun to stir. Her cooking would soon open doors beyond the village, and the path to the king's palace was about to begin. Episode 3: The Taste That Reached the Palace. Morning sunlight spread gently across Lanzhou Village, where Sabrina was busy as always, kneading dough, chopping vegetables, and stirring a pot that filled the air with a mouth-watering aroma. That day, something unexpected happened. A royal traveler, dressed in fine clothes but weary from a long journey, arrived in the village. Hungry and tired, he stopped near Sabrina's little kitchen in the market, drawn by the smell of her cooking. "Excuse me," he said softly, "may I have a bowl of what you're making?" Sabrina smiled warmly. "Of course, you're my guest." She served him her freshly made hand-pulled noodles with tender vegetables and secret spices. The traveler took one bite and his eyes widened. This tastes like the palace kitchens," he whispered. "Who taught you to cook like this?" Sabrina laughed shyly. "No one, sir. I just cook with heart." The traveler revealed himself as a royal messenger, returning from the king's court. Deeply impressed, he said, "Your food carries warmth, not just flavor. The king himself must taste this." Those words filled Sabrina's heart with light. For years, she had dreamed of her food reaching the royal table, and now fate had knocked on her door. The messenger promised to return and tell the palace about her talent. As he rode away, Sabrina watched from her doorway, her heart racing. She whispered, "Maybe my time has come." That night, under the glow of lanterns, she cooked again, practicing, hopping, and dreaming. The aroma of her dishes drifted through the village and into the wind, carrying her dream toward the palace. Episode 4: The Royal Cooking Trial. The soft morning light touched Lanzhou Village as Sabrina stood beside her stove, the steam rising like clouds of hope. Every day since the royal messenger's visit, she practiced tirelessly, mixing new spices, testing flavors, and sharing her dishes with villagers for feedback. Children smiled after every bite, elders praised her flavors, and travelers whispered that her food had the taste of dreams. But Sabrina's heart still waited for one thing: the invitation from the palace. Then one evening, a royal soldier rode into the village carrying a golden scroll. "By order of the palace chief," he announced, "Sabrina of Lanzhou is invited to the royal cooking competition. The winner will serve as a palace cook for the king himself." Sabrina's hands trembled as she accepted the invitation. Her dream was calling, but so was fear. Days later, inside the grand palace courtyard, dozens of skilled chefs from across the kingdom prepared their finest dishes. The air was filled with the sound of chopping, sizzling, and murmured prayers. Sabrina looked around, shining uniforms, golden utensils, and confident faces surrounded her. Whispered to herself, "I may not have fancy tools, but I have heart." When her turn came, she began cooking, her signature hand-pulled noodles with golden broth and sweet aroma asterisk. Every motion was graceful, every flavor pure. But deep inside, anxiety swirled. What if she wasn't good enough? Still, she kept going, remembering her lonely nights in Lanzhou, her dreams, and the villagers who believed in her. As the judges took their first bite, silence fell. The palace chief raised his head, surprised by the warmth and depth of the flavor. "This taste," he said softly, "feels like home." Sabrina's eyes glimmered with tears. Maybe, just maybe, her dream was about to come true. Episode 5. The Taste of a Dream, Grand Finale. The golden sun rose over the royal palace as Sabrina stood silently in the grand kitchen, her hands trembling, her heart beating fast. Today was the final round. The moment she had dreamed of since her childhood in Lanzhou Village had finally arrived. As the palace bells rang, the queen, princess, and royal chefs gathered around the long marble table. The king himself awaited the dish that had already captured whispers across the palace. Sabrina took a deep breath and began. She cooked her signature recipe, golden blossom noodles, a perfect balance of warmth, spice, and love. Every movement was filled with grace. Every flavor carried her story, her struggles, her dreams, her heart. When she placed the bowl before the royals, silence filled the hall. The princess took the first bite, her eyes lit up. "This tastes like sunshine and home," she whispered. The queen smiled gently, nodding. "This girl has a gift, her food carries soul." Soon, everyone in the palace, from guards to kitchen ladies, came to taste Sabrina's cooking. The halls were filled with laughter, the aroma of her dishes, and the sound of joy. The king stood and said proudly, "From this day onward, Sabrina of Lanzhou shall serve as the royal palace cook. Her hands bring peace, and her heart brings flavor." Tears glimmered in Sabrina's eyes. The princess hugged her warmly, and the kitchen ladies surrounded her with smiles and cheers. She was no longer the lonely girl of Lanzhou. She was now Sabrina, the heart of the royal kitchen. Days turned into years, and her food became the pride of the kingdom. Every meal told her story of dreams, courage, and love. And so, Sabrina lived happily ever after, in the palace where her heart had always belonged.